for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
All right. Good evening. How you doing? How you doing? It's Fade to Black. Yeah. Today's Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. Let's do this, man. What a great week on Fade to Black. They're always great around here. This week is just as amazing as the rest of them. Last night we had Emily Harrison on the show. Great conversation last night with Emily and the Akashic Records and all that fun stuff that we did last night. Tonight, Cody, Blue, Snider, and Tanya Dahl are with us. I almost said Tanya Snider. I did. I almost said Tanya Snider. You heard that, Tanya, right? I was correct. Tanya Dahl, the hosts for Acid for Squares. Tomorrow night, Tom Campbell is with us, the author of My Big Toe, a physicist who has changed everything with the theory of everything. And then Thursday night, Richard Dolan is here, calling the show Dolan's Thoughts, because that's basically what we do, man. Just get inside of Richard Dolan's head. All right. Before I bring in Cody and Tanya, two of my dearest friends, I love them so much. I had a big day today. And right now, it's in my world, it's about loving myself. I don't give a shit. Loving myself. And you know what I did? I got a new stove. I did, man. I got a new stove. And I got to tell you, it's the little things, man. And having something like that installed and it's correct and it's exactly what you want and you pick it out and you go through all of those things. But I was struggling with an old stove that was here, and I was being cheap. And finally it just got to the point where, you know what? I'm going to get a new stove. And I did. And they gave me a delivery time. This is what it was like. I just want to share the joy of this feeling. So I get the notification from the delivery company last night. We're going to be there at your house between 8:30 and noon. Okay. I set my alarm for 7 a.m. I got up before the alarm at 6:30. I'm getting it. Yeah, new stove day, man. Jumped in the shower, got all excited, and they didn't show up until 10. So excited, man. So tonight after the show, I'm going to fire up the new stove. Tonight, Cody, Blue, Snider, and Tanya Dahl are with us. They are the hosts for Acid for Squares. I've been involved with the show since the very beginning. I remember when they set up the studio and I got to go out there and hang out. And I've watched this idea and this thing just morph into what it is today. And it's absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of them. They are excellent at what they do. And I just have to say, to see your friends grow and flourish and survive this world of podcast and enlightenment and consciousness. They're doing all the right things. It is a hit podcast. And I'm going to say this in the intro, and then I'm just going to bring them on. The links for Ask for Squares are below over on our website and throughout social media. You can go and check it out. But just when you think you know somebody, right? And we're friends and we're hanging out one night. We were, I think it was at my conference. and they're there. My daughter's there, and we're all sitting at this table in front. I'm hosting, and I know what it was. It was Bashar. So Tanya comes up to me and says, "Jimmy, can I ask Bashar a question?" I said, "You can be first." I don't know what Tanya's going to say. And so she goes up and she's first, man. She goes up, she goes, "Hi, Bashar. Hi, Bashar. I wanted to ask you, we met a bunch of extraterrestrial beings, and they look like," and I'm sitting there, you what? These are my friends. When did this happen? And she goes, "Do you know who they were?" Now, that was the end of that. I'm not going to go into it, but I sat back and I went, "Man, you think you know somebody. You don't." And I want to welcome back to Fade to Black.
New stove day. New stove day. Let's go.
That's a true story, isn't it? It
is a true story.
True story. I remember we went back and we sit down for dinner, and I looked at each other. Who are you?
I know. Let's see. We cosplay as podcasters. And we only got into this game just to talk about our experiences and figure out what the fuck has been happening to us all these years.
Right. Which is exactly where I want to start with you two tonight. Okay. First off, congratulations, and I'm very proud of what you guys are doing, and you guys are you have the right idea and you're executing it. So that's a tough thing to do, man.
We've had your mentorship, and I want to
literally
say for
from
all
the beginning,
listeners, anyone that listens to Ask for Squares, Jimmy has been a mentor to us. I mean, I don't even think he knows that he's a consulting producer. If you watch the end credits, an associate producer.
What?
You don't even know. He's been mentoring us from day one. He's one of our first guests. He put out our first press release.
Yeah.
Right? He's been getting us involved in conferences, introducing us to people,
literally
mentoring us every time we have an existential crisis about charlatanism in this space or whatever it is, or he just always
introduced us to the coolest people ever.
There would be no Acid for Squares if it wasn't for Jimmy taking us under his wing.
Oh man, you're too kind. You're too kind. You're too kind. Well, let's discuss that for a second, because I'm glad that you brought that up. Everybody, if you don't know, Cody is the son of Dee Snider of Twisted Sister, and well, I get Tanya. Are you a daughter-in-law officially now?
I am technically.
We did not have the official wedding yet. You will be at the official wedding, but we did do get her on my insurance wedding. Yeah.
I haven't gotten the invitation yet, but it's going to be great. But anyway, what I bring that up because one night we all went out to dinner, right? So it's the family, it's your mom and dad, two of you, and Dee says to me, he says, "Jimmy," he goes, "they have some questions. Answer the questions for them." You remember that? I was like, okay, all right, let's go. What are the questions? And so from that point to now, what have you learned? Okay. And that's it's not a broad question, right? I know what I have learned from Fade to Black after 3,000 shows, right? I've learned a lot. What have you guys learned?
Well, something that in the beginning, we would talk a lot about our personal experiences. Every time our guest would come on, we would be like, "Oh, I had a similar experience." Oh, because it was fresh and we wanted to be able to talk about it. So to see if other people had that same experience. And then slowly we were like, we need to stop interrupting our guests and we need to let them talk. And so it turned into this whole thing where now it's almost like we have to, it's kind of feels like we're dumbing ourselves down to be able to play the audience or, be the audience, if that makes sense.
It's making me dumber. And you think that it would make you smarter. You're sitting with the world's foremost experts for hours on end, every week getting at them to ask them whatever you want. But I don't know if it's like because we got into this to, let's be frank, to like as like spiritual teachers and experiencers and wanting to share the knowledge that was passed down to us. And then it just flipped and we became students. And the more we learn, the more we realize we don't know shit.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's like, it's in a weird way, I feel dumber, but it's also, there's a wisdom in not knowing anything and like a humility. But I think the part that has been, we've never said this out loud. And this is something that's very like behind closed doors that we have to grapple with existentially. The bigger the show gets, the bigger the people that come on, the more fucked up egos, maybe charlatanism energy. It gets weirder. In the beginning, it was our friends, and now it's like the bigger the people, there's stuff that's weirder. Now we're literally getting to the point where we're dealing with like government whistleblowers, people that were within the government. And now we're getting pulled into the whole, like that side of things, which like the PSYOP side of things.
But also not everybody, not everyone on the show.
It's a
like
spectrum
that.
And it's so complicated, and people think it's black and white or the shadow government, this, it is so multifaceted and it's so complicated. And they're sort of realizing that there's this entire cottage industry when people we call it the spiritual industrial complex. And now we go, holy shit, we're in the spiritual industrial complex. And the things that make people distort reality consciously or unconsciously are so vast and nuanced. And so complex. Everything from ego to a desire to stay relevant to memory to their own
traumas coming through, like all kinds of stuff. But I mean, that's just people. People are people-y, right? It's just kind of how it is.
But it's become, we've had to figure out like almost like creeds for being in sort of this PSYOP, like, whether it's a government PSYOP or whether it's just human frailty, it's, and a lot of it kind of goes like this: no fear-based teachings. If they're fear-based teachings, if they say me, my, I too much, there's a certain point we understand something's off. We understand it's good to relate things to your personal story, but it can be a flag for us if they're making it too much about themselves.
Well, it's not even about like their story. It's they're saying like, I am this, I am the one that holds the power. You know what I mean? Makes them seem like they're the one that has power and nobody else can. When that happens, that is a red flag, because one of our main points of doing Acid for Squares is that we want to remove the middleman. We want to teach people direct spiritual communication. We want people to know how remove the fear and be able to like have these experiences for themselves so they can also know.
Yeah. And another thing is understanding how to tell people who are full of shit and tell the truth. And one of the things, if someone's
discernment is it is so key. And I just interrupted you, but yeah, developing, you know what I call it?
What?
I have squinty eyes. I have squinty eyes with everything. Okay, what's really going on? You have to do that. And you have to do it during the interview. You have to do it before the interview. You have to do it with when you're researching, and you know what I mean? And it's crazy how the practice of discernment becomes, when before it really wasn't there. When you're on that spiritual path, right? When you're on that, it's all unicorns and discovery and all of that. And you think that that's actually what is going on. And it's not that sometimes. It's not that a lot of times.
One thing I'd say is it's more, we find more truth vastly. We believe and love the people we have on in the 90th percentile, but that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%, it hurts. And it puts us in an existential quandary because we trust people to be able to discern themselves.
Yeah, use their own judgment.
And
we always want that.
We trust people, and we also understand that we have shows that we like, and they can be too they never get to like the deep stuff because they're sitting there just kind of like checking them at the gate, being like, how do you know? And we want to go deep, and we know we have a limited time. But something I wanted to say before, because this is really interesting, and Jimmy, I don't know if you found this, like we find people that are like that they just kind of say it as it is. Oh, 3 Palladians came through the door and they told me, like that they are, it's like a red flag for us, as opposed to this was my experience, this was my feeling, and this was my interpretation of it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they kind of hack it, as opposed to being like, and then I went into a Galactic Federation meeting and they just kind of call us. You know what I mean?
You can kind of tell the way that people tell stories if it's true or not, because they kind of are trying to piece together what happened, and the way that they tell the story, we're like, aha, that's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And what I have found, I'm going to say this to the audience. I'm going to say this to you as well, but I'm going to say this to the audience. Whenever somebody says that they are right and everybody else is wrong, I check out. I check out immediately, because nobody, if you are telling me that you know everything about an intelligent, advanced ET civilization, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
So
You're full of, you are completely, there's no way that is the truth. Mm-hmm. It's too complex of an issue. There's too many other experiences, and the things that I have experienced and you guys have experienced yourselves, where I look at it as I've got a lot to learn. Yeah, there is so many variables here, and every time you go to something, there's 100 other questions that lie behind it. And like you said, Cody, you feel dumber because it just keeps unfolding right into this unknown void. So when somebody says that, no, I know everything, everybody else is wrong, well, that's the last time you're on this show.
Jimmy, how do you deal with that? Because you've been doing this for a while. So like, I'm sure you've had some fuckery on your show. So how do you deal with that when that comes up? What do you do?
Well, most people can tell if I don't have a guest on the show for a while, there's a reason for that. Okay. I don't get into it. I don't discuss it on the air. I don't drop names. I don't do any of that, but I let the show speak for itself. And so people can see the ebb and flow. When I have repeat guests, that's because I have trust, and they trust me, and trust is a big deal. When guests aren't invited back on this show, and they haven't been on this show for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, that, and people can go and figure that out themselves, and they don't talk about it. They just understand that I have my ways of doing things, and I've got a guest list that is future guests. It's 1,000 people. All right. How do I get 1,000 people on? And it takes 3, 4, 5 years to get through that. So I don't have to have somebody come on that's somebody that I don't dig. I want to have people on the show that I dig, that I respect, like you guys. I dig you guys.
We dig you too. Yeah, Jimmy. One thing I want to. Oh, go ahead. What's up, brother?
I was gonna say, I thought that our friendship ended one night. You guys were over at the house, and we're all goofing around and having a good time. And I think I'm taping, or somebody's running video on the phone or something. We're just yucking it up. And I start telling vegan jokes. You remember that, right? Right? I'm telling vegan jokes. And Tanya goes, I'm out. And she walks off. She walks out of the kitchen. She takes, she's like videotaping. She goes, I'm out. Let's go look at Jimmy's house. And so she goes out. You're right. Oh, shit. I just offended Tanya with a vegan joke. Do I apologize or do I take it a step further? You know, I didn't know what to do.
Okay, hold on.
I was so upset about that. Tanya. I was like, man, why do I?
I need to make. Hold on.
Yeah,
I need to make a statement here. So, okay, so we go to Jimmy's house, and Jimmy literally gets us like vegan pizzas. This is not like some guy. He eats each. Like he tries them with us. And he goes, "These are delicious. Maybe I'll get some."
Anyone that's vegan knows there's no such thing as a good vegan pizza.
And he goes, he's like, maybe I'll get these in the future. And we're like,
he was being so sweet and like spent all day shopping and like that's the only thing you could find.
Oh, by the way, Jimmy puts on this like hard exterior. He's nice.
He's
big mush.
Guy.
He's
sweetest
a big
guy
mush
in the world, and the same to everyone.
Yeah, he is the same to everybody.
Wait, Jimmy, I do want to talk about something with you. I want to talk about
Okay, go.
I want to before because we haven't talked about this, and I don't even know how much I feel comfortable saying, but as the show's gotten bigger and certain people have come on the show, and the funny thing is they're the bigger people, especially in the UFO disclosure space. And you know, we are now very convinced that I don't even want to say how we know this, that the whole catastrophic disclosure narrative, controlled disclosure thing is 100% true.
Oh, it's true. Of course,
it's 100% true. And
they're doing a rollout on purpose. It's
a rollout on purpose, and it's but it's not. Before it's one thing. You read the thing, you talk to the person. Like we've been friends with Danny Sheehan for a long time. Mm-hmm. It's reached a point now where what now it's first-hand experience, and you know the thing that so then it was like, holy shit, now we know this is really happening. So we started to go like, well, what is it? And the funny thing that happened is I'll kind of jump to the end. It all clicked, and we realized, because it was told to us, that the whole controlled disclosure thing, pretty much disclosures being pushed within the government by the people that silenced and did whatever the fuck they did to either take advantage of this, whether it's stage abductions, I don't know, bad things. And they are pushing, and what they're pushing for is amnesty for all of them.
So nobody goes to jail, nobody gets in trouble, nothing happens to them. And they're like, and if you do this, we'll tell you everything, which I'm sure they wouldn't tell you everything.
And now here's the thing. This is my question for you, because it's one of those things where it's like, they're going to keep saying the only way that this disclosure is going to happen is if we say there's whistleblower protections and everyone is exonerated and everyone is forgiven. That's the only way we get this out on the table. So that's what they're pushing for, so they don't get in trouble. But maybe I'm foolishly idealistic. Like, I don't need like heads to roll. Like, I don't need people punished. Like, I'm fine being compassionate and like letting this go. Like, this started so long ago. Most of the people that started this are probably no longer even with us. Like,
maybe they lose their jobs.
Well, it doesn't matter. But that's what I'm saying is, it's interesting when you have if this is true, and this is what it appears to us, that this is what their end goal is, exoneration for everything that they did before it all comes out on the table. Our question for you is, like, what is your thoughts on forgiveness? Like, if that's the psyop, do you think like,
they deserve forgiveness?
Yeah. Do we just let bygones be bygones, and so we can finally put this behind us and move forward? And is this what you think's happening?
Well, it is to a point. It is to a point, but okay. This is where I'm just going to speak very direct. Whistleblowers are a very interesting thing, but the people that really know, you don't know their names. Okay? You don't. They're not in public. They're not testifying in front of Congress. They're not going on News Nation. They're not buddies with Ross Coulthart, right? The ones truly in the know, you don't know their faces. You don't know their names. And so anybody that is hiding behind a non-existent NDA, because I don't think that there is any NDA. This is my problem with whistleblowers. There isn't an NDA that says you cannot talk about UFOs. You can't talk about crash retrievals. If there was an NDA out there that said that, we would see it. It would have been leaked. One of those whistleblowers whip out the NDA, show us what you signed that says you can't talk about UFOs and crash retrievals. That's because they simply don't exist. And if they did exist, an NDA like that, and it was leaked, then it's case closed, isn't it? Right. So I have issues with that. I have huge issues. So hiding behind the NDA issue with these whistleblowers that are, coming forward now, and I know a lot of them. Okay, and I've interviewed and sat down and dinner and all of that. Is this hiding behind that NDA and not saying anything because you actually don't know anything is uncool? Are you doing it for popularity? Are you doing it for something else? Is there some other agenda? Is somebody else behind the scenes forcing you to take this position? Is it a misinformation campaign to muddy the waters? Is it out there to cause division and people to fight, which we see this all the time now? It's nothing but backstabbing. So I just don't think that is the short-sightedness of it, the immediacy of an NDA and what is happening with that right now. No, that's not the big picture. And the big picture is, and here it is. I'm not going to fuck around. The big picture is this. If disclosure happens and the government admits to ET contact and the possession of craft, then there isn't any immunity to the government and the litigation that would be involved with the pissed off world about how long have you had this free energy? How long have you known this? We need to feed our children and heat our schools and all of the and you've been sitting on this technology. That's not an immunity thing. That's not a whistleblower protection thing. That's a pissed off world thing. And so the NDA and the whistleblower protection stuff is trivial. It's tiny compared to having to answer questions with the rest of the world being upset. And that's the real take. And I don't care if people are upset with what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the truth. It's the truth. So muddying the waters with all of this right now and taking the big picture out of play is misinformation. It's disinformation. And it's trying to control the narrative. That's my take. And it's my theory. I don't think I'm flying that far off of the target. I really don't.
Why do you think that would be controversial to say that?
Because so many people are, and I'm talking about the members of this community are so drowned out in the noise of the he said, she said, high school drama, soap opera. They're drowned out in that. And they don't understand what the really, really big picture is. Somebody asked me once, and again, you had said earlier, don't be the host that's part of the show. But here I am. I'm answering your questions.
No. This is the best episode. They're like this. The best episodes are hangouts.
So when you interview podcast hosts, we're used to asking questions.
We're asking you questions.
We forgot we're being interviewed.
Totally.
Anyway.
Totally. Is that because of the muddying up of everything, and I think a lot of that is intentional. Most of the people that are part of this community that have been around for a long time, they're used to this. Okay, so this isn't anything new. But to the people that are newer to this conversation since December of 2017 with the New York Times article, and that brought in all this new interest into the subject, a lot of things happened back then that aren't around anymore. And what, Tom DeLonge and TTSA and all of the revelations and the crazy, that's all gone. And people have lost sight of that and have lost sight of that whole narrative that was laid out back then. To today, we're rolling it into our elected officials saying that, the dark side is muddying the waters and preventing this. It's bizarre. The whole thing is bizarre, but it's, you know what I mean? It's a shell game. Things are, they don't want you to look over here. They want you to look over here, and they're constantly moving those cups around. So the big thing I was asked, and then I'll flip it back over to you guys. I was asked last month during an AMA, what would be the first question I would ask the government after disclosure? Right? What's the first thing? Well, okay, it's simple. How long have you known? That's my question. Not free energy, not this, not that, not weapons, not this, or backwards engineered. Is Bob Lazar real? Not that bullshit, right? No. How long have you known? Answer that. How long have you known? And that's a really big deal. And they don't want that question answered. They don't want that question asked. They don't want people to go there. Follow me? That's why we have all this bullshit going on. So I know what you guys are. How many people have reached out to you that are part of the government, ex-government, that want to talk to you about secret stuff? How many times has this happened now?
I don't know. I don't even feel comfortable even talking about that part.
Exactly. I went through all of that. This is all I can say. Okay. And it's really, first off, I am blown away how with it the community is, by the way, like with it, like in the fucking comment section on certain episodes, I'm like, you guys fucking know. You fucking know. And I'm like, that's fucking, that was really inspiring. But I walked away with this. The government will never tell you the truth. The government will never tell you the truth. I don't even believe it. I think a big question has been raised for us, which is essentially the government has no right, and this should be a law, to harness for gain of function, military or intelligence use, theological truths. That's right.
Scientific and philosophical truths or information. You cannot keep secret philosophical, theological truths. And that is what's happening. I mean, look, let's cut to the ending. Let's just cut to the ending. It's Sixth Sense. It's Fight Club. You guys don't know this. It's fucking Usual Suspects. We're the aliens, baby. It's you don't think it doesn't end that way with us being, we were the aliens all along.
Right.
You don't think that's what this actually fucking is? Of course, it's the only way this story ends. But the only thing that's interesting that's happening is there's a merging of worlds. Truly, there is a merging of worlds taking place, and it's what the phenomenon truly is. And I know that might sound far out, But from our experience, it has always been a beautiful spiritual thing. I think they're taking this plasma, this angelic, what the religious texts are written about, and it's this whole fucking psyop around it to create fear and to harness the phenomenon for, I don't know, for control or whatever they're doing. I don't really know. All I know is just I know the government will never truly tell us what's going on here. And
here's the thing. There's so many comments and statements that need to be made, but fundamentally it's this: we as earthlings have the right to know about nature.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot keep nature secret, right? You're gonna keep a species of fish from us. There's some secret to that. There's life in the universe, and you want to keep that secret. That's nature. Now, if there's a technical thing behind that where you don't want, Russia or China to get a hold of this technology, which it seems to me that they would have anyway, but, and you don't want bad actors to have it, keep that secret. But don't lie to us about nature. That's what's wrong. And you're right. It's theological. It's metaphysical. It's conscious. It's all of these, existential things out there that we can't necessarily touch or feel, that they want to keep from us. But doesn't that come down to nature? Right?
Yeah.
It's like nature.
I think that's the problem, though, is that this gets exposed in the way that it actually should be exposed. All religions die. And they realize that all religions, these like beings from somewhere else that came and imparted wisdom upon us and all this stuff so long ago that look similar to us and all this stuff, like they're aliens. Come on. It's literally like it's so right on our face. And yes, I sound like an episode of Ancient Aliens, but it's true. Mm-hmm. Anytime we have had encounters with extraterrestrials, because Cody and I are both experiencers, it's always like, we are you. We are, you're our family. That's the feeling that it feels like. It's imparting wisdom. It's help your planet. Here's how you do things. Being kind to each other, like all these sorts of messages, right? And so if you think about all the prophets before the prophets like got distorted, because all of them started off saying the same shit, right? Male and female are equal. Like be kind to each other. All these like things, right? And then it gets distorted because that prophet dies. And then usually somebody in power, like a king or something like that, takes it and twists it and messes it up. Constantine, right? There's many different areas around the world, different religions that this has happened. Yep. So that's the thing, is that when it goes back to it, like all of us are talking about the same thing and all of us are talking about aliens, literally ETs, extraterrestrials, angelic beings coming from the sky or coming from the earth or coming from other dimensions, whatever it may be, and imparting wisdom on us. And that is where all of our religion comes from. But everything would blow up. People couldn't handle that, which doesn't make any sense, because I'm like, how can you possibly think, what's the difference between an angel and something that looks slightly different? Or what's the difference between a prophet like Jesus or Moses or whoever or Muhammad, and they like that maybe they were talking to an extraterrestrial. They weren't talking to an angel. They were talking to something else. But for some reason, because of the doctrines and the dogma, they can't, like, it would destroy us.
You know what's something?
I'm not sorry. And we need to be cautious and be aware of that point, Tanya, because it's valid. But I'm not so sure that religions would collapse, because I think that ET supports their doctrine and their dogma, by the way. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. Oh, by the way, I had a contact experience last week. You guys want to hear it here at my house?
Yes.
I'll make it really brief. So this energy being, this is in my backyard, comes up and says, ask me anything. Now, I haven't told anybody about this. And so I'm not sure if it was in my mind or if this was a physical experience, but it went down. So I said, really? Okay. How did you guys survive? Right? And you know what they said? We eat meat.
Shut up, Jimmy.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
They definitely don't. They definitely don't.
That's what he said. That's what he said. And I went, I knew it. I knew it. I knew I was on the right track.
You're such a shit, Jimmy.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it all along. But look, with all of these are really good points, Tanya. And so let's kind of analyze that for a second. First off, if ET, any of them, and there's a lot, infinite life out there, if ET was hostile, we would have known it. Okay, so I feel pretty confident. I'm not saying there's not bad ET. Of course there are, but our experience, we haven't witnessed a whole lot of hostility. There's that. The other part is with everything that is going on, with all of the news around the world and the United States government doing what they're doing and all of this going out like it has in the media worldwide, nobody's freaked out. Nobody. Wall Street's still in play, right? The Vatican is still there. Islam is strong. India is strong. Buddhism is strong. You know what I mean?
Nobody believes it.
No, you think no one believes?
So many people don't believe it.
Look at the church, how they've made it like demonism. Like it's just they're taking the phenomenon, they're using it to double down on their beliefs. They're just
also the Pope said, it was about 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago. The Pope was asked about ET, and he goes, "Hey, we'll baptize him." Right?
Yeah, it was a good PR.
Yeah. They baptize him just like anybody else. Will dunk him, and I thought that was a pretty honest, but also revealing. In that the church has thought a lot about this, and the church knows the secrets. They do. Eventually, it was going to come out, so I think that they've had a plan all along. So I think the Pope said something like, God invented the universe. He invented them too, right? He created them too. This is all God's work. So yeah, we're in play. We're okay with it. So makes sense to me. I'm not so sure that there's going to be anarchy in the streets. I just don't see it.
But even with that, with like them saying like, oh, aliens are demonic, like no matter what, they're going to turn it into something negative. If you tell them that like Jesus was an alien or like was talking to aliens, they're going to be like, blasphemy, you're going to hell. That's like, there's no way that it would be like just.
But isn't right? And isn't that position hypocritical?
Yes.
You're telling me that Jesus died on the cross, resurrected, teleported out of a cave, came back, hung out with his followers, and you're okay with that. You're okay with angels and Metatron. You're okay with all of that. You're okay with Moses going across the desert, following a light in the sky. You're okay with parting of the sea. You're okay with Jesus going, 1 fish, 2 fish. You're okay with all of that, right? You're okay with all of that, but you have a position to take with ET.
Yeah. No, dude, I heard this. He's like the top exorcist in the world. I forgot his name. He was on Sean Ryan, and I was recently listening to it, and they were going off on aliens being demonic. And, this top exorcist, right, high figure at the Vatican. And one of the things he used to support that opinion is he says, what do they say when humans interact with them? To save the earth, that they're here to save the planet, to enlighten humanity and to teach us a better way of existence to be our salvation. Guess what, buddy? That's Jesus's job.
Yeah, that's what Jesus said.
I'm like,
well, and then also the messed up thing is like they're like the second coming of Christ is going to happen. What if it's an alien?
I know.
They're like,
Okay, let's do a thought experiment.
Okay.
If ET, okay, first off, what are we doing? We're discovering exoplanets, right? We're out there, we're finding them every day, right? James Webb, right? Hubble. We're out there discovering tests, right? All these systems looking for exoplanets. And we're finding them. And we can look in their atmospheres now. Well, ET's doing the same thing. And ET's we've been doing it for 30 years, since 1995, when the first planet outside of our solar system was discovered. What if ET's been doing that for 10,000 years more than us, or 1,000,000 years? Well, they know every single planet, and they've had their eye on this planet for a very, very long time. Okay? All of them are doing it, and they all know about Earth. Full stop. Okay. But they've been observing us, and they know that we're paranoid doofuses, right? We're a planet of dolts, right? Compared to them, right? Planet Earth, that's us, right? Okay, so they know that we have fears and we freak out. We go to the movies to watch people go in the woods, and we get scared. Right? They know these things about us. So they're not going to step off the ship looking like whatever. They're going to step off that ship looking like Jesus. Yeah. Or Tom Brady. Tom Brady would be safe.
Jesus.
Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because
absolutely.
If they stepped off and it's Jesus, he comes down. What's up? Right?
Jimmy, you see, okay. Here's the thing.
Your dad would agree with me, by the way.
Of course he would. My dad's convinced that they're us from the future. And that does kind of segue into what I want to pop off about. I mean, one thing is, and our mutual friend Dana Kipple would love this, is that whatever is the phenomenon is the mediary for the phenomenon, Dana Kipple would call plasma. Mm-hmm. But it is a state of consciousness that interplays with our consciousness and that consciousness itself. And
100%.
That's why
I agree with that completely.
So that's why people see what they want to say. And this is what I want to say. And this is something that's never, ever, ever spoken of. In our experiences, like, it's not like this. It's not like we're sitting here talking and I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, guys? It is sacred. Sacred.
For sure.
Hauntingly sacred. Like, oh, shit. It's
right.
Fucking
reverence.
Reverence. Mm-hmm. So sacred, it's scary. Make you cry, make you shake,
overwhelming,
make you feel like you're dying because the vibration is so high as they try to calm you down so you can look them in the eyes.
Be not afraid.
Yeah, be not afraid. I heard recently someone say
I would lose if I had a bona fide, and I've had my experiences, okay? But I'm talking about if I went into a room with an ET sitting at the table, right? And I went, could my nerves handle that?
Dude,
your nerves handle? Could your mind?
Dude,
right? I don't know, man. I'd like to say I could, but
we've experienced them so much, but definitely like walking in a room and sitting down one with.
Should we tell them the Bashar story? The story from Bashar? Should we tell them the real story that he because he tells it all the time?
We'll say that we'll save it after we'll save it for after the break. We'll say we'll go deep into it. But the world has gotten smarter. And so because of that, our understanding of the size of the universe, and exoplanets and how many galaxies and how many stars and how many planets and the size of everything. We're starting to understand that, and it's vast, and the numbers are so big they're hard for most to comprehend. But what we do know is that the shit is big, and every star in the universe has planets, right? Every single one. So we know that. So the idea being presented on this planet of alien life being out in the universe, nobody would be surprised. No, today they would go, of course there's life out there. Is it coming here? That's another. But the understanding of the complexity and the size of the universe, I don't think anybody's going to question that there's life out there. Neil deGrasse Tyson just flipped, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Geez, that was a
big one. That was a big one. So, but now I want to go back and ask you guys. I want to address what you just said. Consciousness is the one holdout here that we've all got issues with, even inside of our community. We all have ideas. Okay, we do. Nobody knows. No, not yet. Does the Dalai Lama know? Probably not. What is consciousness? How does it arise? Where does it come from? And after we leave this meat suit, what happens to it? Science wants to argue about it. The conscious community wants to argue about it. You know, 1,000 years from now, we'll probably have a firm understanding of what consciousness is. But ET does. Okay? And that's the one thing. So when they get here and they want to talk to us on elevated terms because they now understand stuff that we just don't understand, that's going to be difficult for us to have those questions answered that we may have, because consciousness is the foundation.
I think that I couldn't agree more. And one thing I know we would love to speak to about the phenomenon itself, because this kind of comes from like our shamanic, the more shamanic training and experiences we've had. And I think it speaks to sort of the phenomenon itself, not as extraterrestrial visitors that are spying on us or watching us and, you know, assisting in our development. But I think from their perspective, we are them, we are one. And to affect the smallest grain of sand is to affect the farthest star, as Planck would say. Everything is quantumly entangled. And that is their interest. And
we all come from the same source. So of course we're the same.
And that source is what we call consciousness, right? So, but this is one of the most fascinating things in shamanism is one of the main healing modalities is called soul retrieval. And it's in the present moment, going to a trauma where essentially a split happened in the soul when something happened so traumatic, the person said, I don't want to feel that feeling. So there's a split, and retrieving that aspect of the self, reconnecting it, which connection is the word we use for love. And if really you want to boil it all down to connection and disconnection, I mean, that would be the most simple way to understand this. But soul retrieval, they heal the split, they retrieve that part of the soul, integrate it back into the whole, and that is how healing is achieved. Now, the interesting thing is, in modern day, that soul retrieval whole methodology has been rebranded as internal family systems, is what they call it. And we could tell you story after story. Tanya has an amazing one about a profound healing she did on herself in a ceremony with that exact experience that happened to her. But what I'm trying to say here is it's made us, after having the experience of going back and healing that split and reclaiming that part of our past self, it made us, we kind of joke when we pray and do grace at dinner, and we'll literally be like, we're praying to our future selves. And from their perspective, it's our belief at this point in time that that is what they're doing. It is our future self. It is us in a higher evolutionary state of consciousness going back to a wounded state of a wounded self, a version of their self, to reclaim that soul split. And if anything, we're so convinced that this is what's happening because of our experiences with them, with ourselves, that's what's happening. The question we end up pondering more than anything is why the separation, why the illusion of separation? Why is that happening? And how do we make sure disclosure doesn't have that dissonant, that duality, that dissentfulness that baked into it? The good and bad aliens.
Right, right.
That. We're going, how do we heal it? Because that's the thing, is we're never going to bridge that divide. And this is why we say, heaven and earth are being merged. There's a new world being birthed. And it's really, we're bringing in this new world, and it is our future. It's our future selves.
But it is kind of hard to do that, though, because we are living in a polarized reality.
Completely polarized. Tanya, you're right. And let me, I need to respond to that. Here's my take. All right. We cannot mend, heal, or do anything while we are still divided by borders and thoughts and skin color and everything else. The day that we accept ourselves as earthlings first, we'll never do that. We're completely, like Tanya said, we are completely polarized and divided. So how does that happen? Let me give you an example. What do we call people from Mars? Martians, right? That's how we look at everything else. So if we're looking at, a distant planet, are we considering the divided, right? Fundamentalist, sectarian, divided. Which part of the planet are you guys from? We don't look at it like that. So we need to look at ourselves that way. If we don't do that with the rest of the universe, we don't even do it with Mars, right? We have to overcome that here first. And then all of that polarized bullshit that we fight about all day long, right? And whatever. That has to end. And so how do we do that? We do that by meeting officially our brothers and sisters out there in the universe, and disclosure has to happen. That's the only way we can come together as earthlings and look at ourselves and how we represent ourselves to everybody else.
Yeah. And our relationship with the bugs, with the other animals. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do love the bugs.
And they're the aliens, man. You know what I'm saying?
They're tiny little aliens.
They're the aliens.
Have you ever looked at a bug up close in macro photography? It's just a tiny sci-fi pet.
Man, I had a praying mantis. I have the video. Praying mantis lands on my arm right here, right? And I was sitting with somebody. We're shooting a video. This praying mantis, man, and he's looking at me. Oh, do you know praying mantis? The only insect that can turn his head is a praying mantis.
Oh.
The only. Yeah. So anyway, I sound like an insectologist or whatever they're called. So he's looking at me. Yeah, he's looking at me. I'm looking at him. And this dude bites my nose.
Oh,
he jumped and dude, and I'm like, I got the video. I'm shaking my head, and this dude will not let go. Man, he's on my nose right here.
What?
Yeah.
You got bit by a praying mantis? That's crazy.
And he wouldn't let go. He was just hanging on, man.
Jimmy, what did you do to it?
What did you do to the praying mantises, man?
It was so funny. I was like, oh man, you're so cute. Look at you. And he turns his head and goes. True story. I got the video somewhere.
That's awesome.
All right, let's take our break. Tanya, Cody, you guys stay right there. 3-minute break. I am your host, Jimmy Church, Acid for Squares comes to Fade to Black. You guys stay right there. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button right now. Watch The Vortex on Gaia TV. It's Fade to Black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? Go to JimmyChurchRadio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut. River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com. All right. Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Tanya, Dahl, and Cody Blue Snider are with us. They are the hosts for Acid for Squares, my dear friends. Great conversation tonight. And I just told Praying Manna's story. And I think it's proof that aliens eat meat. See?
Hey, Jimmy. I'll tell you something. I'll tell you right now. We're directing the Dolores Cannon documentary with Oz. Do you know this? And so we're doing research, and we got all of her tapes, like 30,000 tapes. We
digitized for the first time, everything.
And so we're starting to go through everything, and they all say we are going to be eating more plants. That's what the aliens say in all the hypnosis tapes.
Don't they say totally vegan?
No, they say less and less meat, and they say less dense foods and more plants. So,
well, when ET gets here and they taste some of our vegan pizza and gluten-free bread,
they're gonna quit. They're gonna leave.
They're off. They're out.
I can make them some good vegan food. Let me try first.
Not the pizza. Don't just give them the real pizza for starters.
Every vegan says the same thing
about pizza.
No, I make really good vegan. You haven't had mine.
No, I actually really do. I'm like,
yeah. We'll
let's not go there. Okay, so
let's not go there.
We could spend the rest of the show on that topic. But it's this. You guys had an ET, your first contact experience that Tanya asked Bashar about. So Tanya, I want you to share what happened with everybody. Not the Bashar side of it. That was precious. But no, what happened? And I do want to say this out in front. You guys were on my panel, my DMT panel at Contact in the Desert. And it was a great panel, by the way. That was a lot of fun. And one thing that I have realized is that I've always known, but I needed the experience, the DMT experience. about the other dimensions that are around us. It's a crazy thing to go through, and it's so much fun. And I think all elected officials and every physicist out there should do DMT to understand that there's another reality going on. I say that because you're going to share your contact experience. So Tanya, what happened?
Okay, so
Are we gonna just tell this one, or
Yeah,
or should we give?
Well,
him
yeah, no, I want the one.
yeah, I'm telling you this one.
Yeah.
Okay. So Cody and I go to Joshua Tree National Park, right? And we are hiking deep into nature. Do I tell you the rest?
Yeah, we have to tell the real.
No, I'm going to. I'm going to.
We tell the real tea. Okay, this is the real tea. This is the real. We're giving the. I'm gonna give you too much prologue, but I'm gonna make it super short. Okay,
Okay.
Super short.
Good
Okay.
luck.
I'm gonna try. Okay, here's the thing. If you can't tell, me and Tanya both have ADHD. Okay, so.
Well, where is this starting?
In the beginning, I was premature. We both have ADHD. Okay, I'm a Ritalin kid. Was stuck on Ritalin and stuck on all different sorts of medicines. Went on a medication journey. Shook that shit in my 20s. Dealt with debilitating side effects and went on a healing journey to try to shake all this shit. Okay, try to get off the medication, heal my ADHD. Turns out it's sort of. Turns out it's some sort of sensitivity. It's like a lack of filters. The West would say it's a underdeveloped prefrontal cortex. But we went into these ceremonies, started having some experiences that not everybody else was happening, and a lot of it was alien. And Tanya, it was the same exact thing. So one of the things with these experiences is they kind of go piece by piece. They only give you as much information as you can take, and then there's an integration period. Sometimes it takes a whole year to integrate the information you get because it's so reality shattering. So telling you everything, so not without giving you the full lead up to everything, this might sound pretty crazy, but at this point,
it's gonna sound crazy no matter
what. It doesn't matter. Me and Tanya start dating each other, and what we would do is we would go into Joshua Tree and we would do our mushroom ceremonies. And typically the way we do this is we camp and then we wake up with the sun. And we hike deep into nature. And this is if we're doing it in the States. We build an altar and then we sit in the ceremony and we do it proper that way. So this day, for some reason, and this happens a lot before ceremonies for some reason, I
was super sick.
Sick beforehand.
Well, I was super sick and I told Cody, I was like, I can't hike out and do the mushrooms out in the middle of the thing. Like, I just can't. I need to do them here at the tent. And so we end up opening the ceremony, doing the mushrooms, not even that much, by the way. And we start walking into jumbo rocks. And so all of a sudden, everything starts kind of turning into eyeballs, which I had never experienced before besides like DMT.
And we set a timer.
Yeah, it was like 15 minutes.
Not even, like 10 minutes in. Like it was like, whoa, this is too soon.
And so Cody collapses to the ground and he goes, I can't go on anymore.
I took a seat. I could not go anymore.
He collapsed. And so anyways, I'm like, but Cody, it's the end of July. It's really hot. Like, at least get under this rock, right? So we find this tiny rock with a little bit of shade and go underneath this rock. So from there, Cody and I immediately have the same exact experience.
Yeah.
So the same exact one. So I am lying there dying.
Yeah. I want to tell this part. She calls me under the rock and I'm like super sick and I just remember putting my hands on the ground and seeing 3 sets of blue feet with white robes and in front of me. And I look up and there are 3 like blue ETs tall in robes sitting in the physical space. And the fact that this was not even 30 minutes, like we're not even in yet. And I couldn't handle it. The vibration was so strong and I panicked. And next thing I know, I get kind of like yanked into the back seat. I completely disassociate from the experience so I could go through with whatever had to happen. She's having the same experience. Go ahead, Tanya.
I just told the experience.
No, well, what happened?
No, so anyway, so I'd left out a tiny bit that I had not told during the Bashar thing, but I was laying there and the rock next to me turned totally clear. And there was this like female alien, blue skin lying next to me. And she was like, "It's okay. You've done this before. It's okay. It's okay. Calm down." And I'm like, but telepathically. And so this like beam of light comes out of the sky and like hits me. And all of a sudden, 3 tall, thin blue beings in robes appear in front of us. Like the same exact thing that Cody had. And by the way, we had not talked about this until like way later, until we got to the tent. We both like start explaining what had happened. And at the same exact moment, we had these, like, it's so weird, like that they're in robes also. Yeah, like tall, thin blue ET looking beings, very tall in robes.
By the way, not like for me, nothing else. Like it was like I've never had like right there.
Physical form, like right in front of us, eyes open, like right in front of us.
And one of the things that, what happened after they appeared in front of you?
Well, that's when we started going through all the past lives.
Yeah. So what happened for me is when I looked up, and this is something that's hard to explain, that the vibration was so high that I could not hold thoughts in my head. Like it felt like I was dying. Like I felt like I was dying, and my thoughts I couldn't even have thoughts, and it hurt. And I'm now praying for it to end. I'm doing any magic I know. I'm saying I can't do this. Like I can't have this happen right now. I can't do this. I'm abort. Get me out of here. I don't want to do this anymore. How do I get off the ride? So like I said, I get pulled into the back seat, and this is sort of something that kind of happens to us in these type of experiences, sort of go into a channeled state where our bodies begin to move themselves and start to speak in sort of a tongue or a light language. And
that was the first time it had happened to us.
That is how the first time I ever did light language. But so our bodies get taken over, and I get kind of like yanked into the back seat with whatever is now moving my body. But I am sitting, this is the weirdest thing. Next thing I know, I'm in what I can only describe as, I would call it now, a soul council meeting. At the time, it was just a table, like almost like Star Wars, where they have like the different, I don't know, it's like the Council of Elders or whatever. They're different looking. They all have different kind of robes on. They're on like a higher up platform, and I'm in the middle, and they just start going through past lives, which is interesting because plant medicine and shamanism is often said it's a life review on earth with plant medicine. That's often what it's called in the shamanic lineage. And they start going through all these lives. And it was mostly with Tanya.
And the craziest thing is that at the exact same time, I was going through past lives and watching me and Cody like shift and change into these different lifetimes as different people, like different ages and races and like time periods and everything. And we were clicking in at the same time and like speaking different languages,
Italian,
and then clicking,
French, it was crazy.
and then like clicking in, but we were doing it at the exact same time. It was so crazy. So crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I remember being like, they were telling me whatever I was doing wrong in the relationship and some ancient thing that we had done before that I was fucking up. And I remember literally just passing the buck to her and being like, go talk to her. Like, talk to her. That's her fault. I don't remember what it was, but the most interesting thing is, and maybe you can tell this part better, but I remember when like communicating with whatever these blue ETs figures are, I think this was from you, that they told you they were great ancient beings.
That was way later. Yeah, they started appearing more often, just randomly, and like in and out of ceremonies. And they finally like changed their thing because I kept calling them ETs, and they're like, we're not ETs, we're great ancient. You can call us great ancient beings. And it's weird because I forgot who that we spoke to recently on our show, but we talked about this with them, and they said, oh, that's actually kind of like a creator spirit of like of a world, like somebody that is like a fraction off of source consciousness that creates a world in order to like inhabit or whatever. And so the great ancient beings are these like creator spirits.
Yeah.
Now here, let's tie this into what we were talking about earlier. And this is what I find really interesting is that experience that you had 3,000 years ago is angels. You follow me?
Yeah.
How do you go back to the village and try to explain in terms of extraterrestrial beings? I just met. No, it's going to be religious. It's going to be a religious experience.
And angels have robes, which is actually funny. I'm just kind of realizing a lot of times they're in robes.
This is our core thing. We are acid for squares because we're dissolving the boxes we put things in. That's what it means, right? Obviously, we have a psychedelic bend to us, but that's our intention. These experiences are religious experiences,
like true like spirituality, true religion. Yeah, it's
and the here's the thing is its spirit is non-corporeal. It's a non-physical space. So when you interpret or communicate with spirit, it communicates in symbols because we communicate in symbols. So it's telepathy, or it's sort of like they're putting visuals in your mind, right? So in the beginning, when we would have these experiences, if you get shown one visual and you go like, it's a bad thing, and you run away or react to it, you don't let sort of the Pictionary, we call it spiritual Pictionary, that because they're trying to communicate a story to you through symbols. And eventually you move beyond that space and it's a completely non-physical space. There's no need for symbols. You merge with whatever that frequency is, and all the information comes in a download. It's like an emotional, it's like an empathic intelligence. Like
it's kind of like you get for like downloads. If somebody hasn't experienced a download before that's listening, basically it's kind of like a telepathic file that's just put in your head, and then it's your head has to like decode everything. So you're kind of like unraveling it, but all the information is there all at once.
And that's the thing is the angel thing is fascinating because I'll tell a story. We were sitting in an ayahuasca ceremony. It's about to start, and it is very freaky for us. It is very insecty. It's, how fucking insecty it is. The frequency is insane. Ancient insect energy. It's fucking crazy. But I remember I'm sitting there getting ready to go in, and we just drink the medicine. It comes in 30, 45 minutes. It's totally dark. And I remember sitting there and I'm getting like nervous. I'm like, why the fuck do I do this? Like, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm nervous. Like, I'm about to sit here and writhe in agony and face my demons and puke and be sick for 8 hours. I'm like, I don't want to do this. And I remember like kind of like calling out, being like, why is it so weird and alien? Like, why can't it be angelic? Why can't I get like fucking angels? Like, why can't it be all like white light and like, right? And I remember thinking that in a kind of a scared state. This was still working through a lot of fear at this point. This was many years ago, but still I remember thinking that and then seeing someone in the front of my mat, and right, all the lights are off. And so I open my eyes and I think it's the shaman there to reprimand me. I don't know, maybe I'm moving too much. I tend to move around a lot. And I look up and there's a figure silhouetted in black. I think it's the shaman, and I lean forward so he can tell me what he needs me to do or what's wrong, right? I lean forward. I then realize the face is etched out, which is something very common when we see them, is their faces are etched out. And I lean forward, and then next thing I know, I feel I am wrapped in wings, and it felt like feathered pillows, and the medicine has not come on. Again, this was another situation, 10 minutes in, I know when the medicine comes on because they'll start playing in Icaros, wrap me in wings, and I just cried. I was like, oh my God, like you heard my cry and came and gave me like an angel wing hug, like to be like, and then the medicine kicked in 20 minutes later and was alien and insect and fucking weird. But the point is I'll never forget that. And I was saying this earlier, it's like one of the most common phrases in all ancient scripture is the words, be not afraid. That's not because it's all angels in there. It is fucking scary. It is fucking scary.
Why is it? Why? Let me ask you this. My guide, I was never, I had fear or anticipation or anxiety before, but not during, right? The anxiety, it was crazy how comfortable I was. But my guide, who had a feminine voice, kind of almost Latina accent, right? I can't explain it. It almost sounds racist. I don't mean to have it sound like, but it was, and I never looked at her. Okay. And for some reason, I didn't feel compelled. Now, my question to somebody that is sharing an experience like this is, well, what did your guide look like? Right. And when you're in the moment like that, it was very strange how, if somebody asked me that question, I didn't look. I know it sounds strange, but I was so comfortable.
You don't really.
I felt like I was wrapped in those wings, is what I'm saying.
You don't really need to, though, because I think in that moment, though, the thing that's important is the messaging that you're getting. So whatever the message is, it's like you have such a brief moment. It's like the line, "Don't give in to astonishment." Right. So when you get to the other side, the worst thing you can do is go, "Oh my God, wow, this is amazing."
Right.
Like freak out because you only have like 2 seconds. They're like, come here. You got 2 seconds. Stay with me. So also with her, she could have done something to make it so you're not paying attention to her, but instead kind of paying attention to the experience or to the messaging or whatever it needed to be, because of the astonishment aspect of it. That if it would have been given a face, maybe it would have been a different experience for you.
Yeah. And that's another.
Well, let me ask you. Well, hold on. That's a great point, Tanya. Cody, the face was etched. Would it have been a different experience if you saw the face?
I don't know. So there's a.
I mean, why does it matter? Is what is
it matters? It matters because of this. So if they show you their face, the way our consciousness works is we create an idol out of it. We create individuation. You are you, and I am. Like, they are trying to create, all the medicines and all the experiences are to create unity and oneness and to dissolve separation and illusion.
For sure.
They want to dissolve the idea that you are separate from them. So they don't typically show themselves that way. They will at certain points. And look, this is something we're learning. If anyone that watches Acid for Squares, it's funny because we are going on a journey of on the show, and people are watching it, of understanding what we've been going through. And one of the main things is mediumship. We had no idea that it's mediumship. We are just thinking, oh, everyone can have like direct relationship with like divinity, and like the church is like keeping this shit from people and saying like only these people that are now dead could have spiritual experiences. And our whole intention is to teach and empower people to have their own direct relationship with the other side, and not to give their power to a guru or anything. But what I'm trying to say here is that we are learned that is called mediumship. And our teacher is very specific about what he calls your mediumship mentor. Maybe other people call it your guides. And he's very specific that your mediumship mentor will not tell you its name or reveal itself until many years of working with them.
Until you're ready.
But the other thing I want to say is, I actually think the feminine figure that you're talking about, it sounds a lot more like, so we call it grandmother or Lady Ayahuasca. Chris Bledsoe calls it the lady. In Gnosticism, they call it Sophia. but it is the divine feminine, and it is this sacred feminine archetype that we've experienced, and everyone really experiences if they work with DMT. And she is
she was cool. She was so cool.
She is cool.
So cool.
She's funny.
So cool. Well, when she goes, "Welcome, Jimmy," I was like, I'm walking. She's behind me. I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And the way that I was so comfortable, and so, do you remember? Which is probably why I was never compelled to look at her. Do you remember the movie Galaxy Quest?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Remember when Tim Allen is in the back of the limousine and home chick next to him, her disguise dissolves for a second and she goes, "Ah!" Right? And she turns into the octopus or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So what if I was like Tim Allen? And so this comfortable presence that is like, "Hey, Jimmy, walk down the path. You can go left. You can welcome," and I turn around and it's chick from Galaxy Quest. Ah! I don't want to see that. Right? You follow me? That would change the you know what I mean? So whoever she is, whatever, maybe she's just an energy being. I don't know. Maybe she's I don't know. But I didn't care. You follow me? Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. I do want to say something. So we talked about this on the panel a little bit, but working with these entheogens like DMT or mushrooms or ayahuasca or something like that, really it's just like removing the filter of the brain so we can see more of like what is actually there. And so when it comes to like when we're talking about learning mediumship, right? Our teacher talks about this a lot, where mediumship is not what people think. Usually when you say, "Oh, I'm going to a medium," you think of somebody that's just speaking to spirits, but that's actually not what mediumship is. Mediumship is removing all the blockages, all the filters, all the things that you have so you can have direct communication all of the time with everything around you, including your mentor, your guides, your angels, whatever it may be. And so the mediumship, people that are mediums that can speak to spirits, it's because they've removed these pieces of themselves that stop them from being able to, or stop them from having filters. So
yeah, the veil is lifted.
Yes. And so all of us have that ability. This is why entheogens are so important, though, because it allows you to see what is possible and that's around you all the time. And so it's something to obviously not do all the time, but then to realize it's a state that you can reach. So then you can practice other things that allow you to have these experiences and have these conversations on a regular basis.
I've tried to stress with everybody when they have questions about specifically, I'm just talking about DMT, not mushrooms or anything else. I'm just talking about DMT, that most haven't done it. And when I say, and others say, you need to understand, this is not recreational. This is not this. This is not no. And you are in another place that is as real as this place. They don't understand that. It's like beyond, it doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. So I had heard this enough. I had interviewed Danny Goler and so many, all of our good close friends, and Paul Hynek and so forth. It when they would try to explain that reality, no. And so when I experienced it and I went there and visited, I cannot express enough. It is real. Mm-hmm. I remember coming back. I'm driving to my house. It's like a half hour later, right? Half hour later. And it hit me. It was real. Right? It's real. It's a crazy, this isn't Disneyland, Dumbo and pink elephants and flower cartoon. No. It's real.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's a bizarre, and until people do, they're going to have those questions. And I understand the fear of that, right? How can you experience something that is real, but is not part of this reality? I can, because I tripped out. I was like, I can't do this. I'm too scared. And then you go and experience it, and wow, it's just simply another reality. By the way, always the same guide for me, the same person. Same thing for you guys?
Are you talking about the woman?
Yeah.
We've had different beings. I don't think we've had the same person, but I want to ask you a question. So when because you tend to have the same woman that comes through, do you get the sense, like a feeling of home, or I've done this before when you go in, or is it the first time?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised, right? Yeah, I wasn't surprised. It wasn't like, I was very comfortable in the environment. The things that I was seeing, the symbolism that Cody was referencing earlier, I was seeing that, but it was all very familiar. The landscape, and we spent a lot of time in this on the panel. I don't know. We have time. The landscape, the visualizations. I was struggling. My brain was struggling with that because I had to look at everything to understand what I was looking at, as opposed to here, right? I know where I'm at. I know that those are guitars behind me, right? I know this is a microphone. I know this is a computer. I know this is I don't need to look around to figure stuff out. But you do that. Your first experience is in. Your brain is trying to, Andrew Gallimore talks about this a lot. Your brain in its first experiences is assembling a world that is unfamiliar with. So, but I was never uncomfortable. I was never uncomfortable. Yeah, it was pretty. How? Let me ask you guys about this. I on another experience. So she says, "Welcome back, Jimmy." I said, "Hey, what's up? It's good to see you," or "It's good to hear," or whatever. And she goes, "You can walk down this path. You can go left or right, just like before. It's your decision. But what is it that you would like to do today?" I said, I just want to see the world. I want to experience this place. I just want to experience it. I want to see it. She goes, "Okay, all right, let's go." So we walk, and I'm going down this path, and we come up to this bridge, and we go across this river. My point in saying that, without going into details, is that I was cool with it. Just like walking on a path in the woods. You know what I mean? Or walking down a sidewalk in your neighborhood. It was like that. It was just like I was just cruising. And
sorry, keep going, Jimmy. Sorry.
No. I'm just saying it was just very familiar, like Tanya is saying. It was just like it was just a thing. It was very beautiful.
That's a thing that is so hard to communicate to people, or at least for me, which is every time I enter the space, there is a greeting, like, "Good to see you again. How you doing?" Da da da. Like, that is so eerie because it's like so real and it's so like kind of funny, and it always catches me off guard that it's so like, "Hey, like, what's up?" Like, okay, like every time. And the interesting thing is that the ceremonial work with entheogens, they kind of take off where they left off. Like I could sit in a ceremony a year ago and hop back in, and it's kind of like, all right. And it's almost like the next chapter. Like, it's crazy. And it's really hard to communicate that part to people. And something really interesting, because typically there's like a greeting, Then there's like the work, which is usually like tough shadow work. It's like I'm confronted with something and it hurts and I have to like move it, process it. And it's tough. Like that's the work. And then if I don't fully panic and go into a state of just like resistance the whole time and then I just suffer the whole time.
Right.
At the end, I always get like this little gift and it tends to be like a glimpse into the future. Really weird. This compound we're on right now, I was shown at the end of an ayahuasca ceremony. It had no concept. It just said, this will be your home. And it was massive. And I was like, what the fuck? That?
Right.
1-bedroom apartment in LA. Like, what are you talking about? They showed me heaven at the glimpse, and it's always funny because it's like hard work, and then at the end, then I think there's like a revelation, an epiphany, and then it will show me one vision, and it will kind of fade into the distance, and it will fade away, and right when it fades to black, I hear second cup. I'm like, oh, I'm like, I don't know, I'm good. I don't need to do more. But the point
right. So it was always a continuation, like you're saying. And she said to me once, she goes, okay, I feel like you want to ask me something. And I said, yes, I do have a question. She goes, okay. I said, what's up with the robot aliens? Just like that. And I remember flailing my arms. And she goes, not this time.
Yes, for the machine.
And now normally I would have been a little upset. I was like, okay, all right, it was just too much here to do, and so far I'm not going to push it. That's exactly what I thought. I just let it go. The next visit, she goes, so what's up? I said, what's up? How you doing? She goes, I'm good. How you doing? And she goes, what would you like to do today? I said, I want to see the universe. I just want to go out and see what it's really like. She goes, let's go. And when she said, let's go, I took off like Superman. Right? And I could hear it. And I fly right off Earth. And I take off into the stars. Fast, man, hauling balls.
It's like your t-shirt.
Yeah, and I'm controlling. Yeah. And I'm controlling it, right? We come up and I see this planet. I want to say it felt like Jupiter, kind of like big glowing planet. And it's coming up, and I decide to go behind it. I do, man. It was so much fun. And so I take this turn, and the planet is now close to me, the edge, and I just fly around in back of it. And she's behind me talking to me. So she's flying. I'm assuming she's doing the same thing. And then this is when it got physical. Okay, which is why I want to ask you guys about it getting physical. Off in the distance, from behind the planet, I see a shooting star. It's way out there. And I can kind of hear it. I can hear me, and I can hear it. And I'm watching, and I was like, wow, that's cool. And this thing goes all the way around and goes boop on my nose.
You got booped?
I got booped. And I felt it. Okay. And I boop. And so I was like, wow, okay, that right on. Okay. And I'm set, and here comes another one. And I boop. Did it like 12 times. I got 12 boops. And I felt every single one. So I'm going to ask you guys. Stop. I'm trying to open up here, man. I'm trying to open up with my friends, man. This is why I don't open up anymore, man.
No, it's far out, man. It's far out.
Yeah, I know. It's Man, I was booped, man. So have you guys have you been physically touched like that
Yeah. So
on the other side?
yeah. So Cody and I have dealt with a lot of surgeries. So inside of like ayahuasca ceremonies, like in Peru, they call these little spirit doctors, which kind of look like gray aliens. They call them the doctorcitos. And basically they do surgeries on you. Now the doctorcitos are kind of like emotionless, like gray aliens almost. And they do surgeries on you and you can feel it. Like it feels like you're being, it feels like you're being electrocuted. It feels like you can like feel things coming in like in and out of your body. I had one time like something, they injected something in me. They were like, you have something in your blood. We need to get it out. And like, I could feel it like moving through my body, and the electrocution is very normal. Like that's kind of, it feels like these like crazy sort of like electrocution sort of things, which is like so nuts. But if they have energy weapons, they probably are energy healing things. Like it would make sense. But yeah.
Amy's in the chat, by the way.
Amy! Yeah, love Amy. Yeah,
thank you for introducing us to Amy
and Romeo.
I talk to Amy pretty much every single day.
Yeah, she's the best. Okay, so Cody, so same thing for you?
Yeah, same thing. So there's a few reasons. I believe one reason they do it is because they want you to know it's real.
Yeah.
I also believe that so much of the processy of what they do is anchoring it into the densest reality. Like again, I'll say merging the worlds, but I'll tell you a really fucking weird one that happened once. Long story short, we sat in a circle together. It was an ayahuasca circle, and it was really, really weird. It was all men on the outside, and they stuck the women on the inside. And that's not how you do it.
It was the worst.
And it was really weird. And it was weird because the shaman's wife was late. It was like a weird holographic reality sort of thing. So like all these kind of like really like jack dudes sitting on the outside, all the women in the middle. The shaman's wife isn't there, and he's sitting, and he decides to start the circle without her. And literally, like right as we're about to like we start the circle, and like in the middle of it, the wife like bursts in from the airport with like all her stuff, like panting, like, you know, she sits down, kisses her husband, gets in, and the whole night ended up being about at least for me, and I think a lot of people, like the masculine feminine balance. Like pretty much immediately I got confronted with Tanya led a meditation circle in the park, and it was kind of like a bird's eye view looking down, and there was an empty space, and I had a friend in town. I didn't show up, and it was showing me like you like hurt her, and like she needed your support, and like you weren't there for her. And I was like, you know, feeling like a really big piece of shit. And I remember being like, kind of like asking like, oh, like, I don't know what happened, but all I know is I got taken to the beginning of time. It was the weirdest fucking thing. And I got shown this split when the one became the two, like the Big Bang in slow motion. And as like these two polarities were ripping from each other, I was shown like these like core betrayals against women, and it was really brutal stuff.
Wow.
And
wow.
It was so fun. Essentially, it was that the man left the woman. It split from the woman, and that when the man came back to remerge, the woman had like some boundaries up. Like, whoa, you can't come in. And the man abused its physical dominance to be like, no, bitch, like I'm going to force. It was so fucked up. It was so fucked up. And I just puking, like all this horrible, like hearing this like brutality against like the ancient mother, whatever it was. It was brutal. So I cried out, and I literally go, what can I do? What can I do? Like what, like I'll do anything like to stop. I felt so bad in this moment. It was horrible. And all of a sudden above my head, I'll never forget it. It went, whoa, a portal opens above my head. I swear to God. Like this, and there are 3 gray aliens on the other side of the portal. Look like clear, like a window into another world, and they have metal rods in their hands, and they reach out of the portal and stab me in the back and start electrocuting me. And I'm fucking sitting there getting electrocuted by 3 gray aliens through a portal. I swear to you. And didn't your friend see this? who didn't Desiree, who one of your friends, whatever, does not matter. But it was so fucking real getting stabbed with this cattle prod in the middle of a ceremony and electrocuted. And I will never forget it. I was like, that was physical. And it was more intense than a star boop. I wish I got a star boop. It sounded very nice.
So you were, see, aliens eat meat. You were kebab.
I was kebab.
You were kebab. You were kebab. I think that the most important, at least for me and what everybody else is asking, is once the veil that Tanya was talking about, once this is lifted and we now understand that there are other dimensions and other life forms out there that are existing right now around us that are here that can share knowledge with us and what they know. I think that's a huge step for humanity. I think that the ancients understood all of this. For some reason, amnesia is set in and we've let go of it. Technology and money and materialism kind of got in the way. But that's a huge step, isn't it? Where we can go and learn about ourselves with other life forms that exist in this reality. That's a huge thing for the world to grasp, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I don't know if our physical realities will merge completely. This is just my own personal opinion. I think what's happening is that, again, like a DMT experience shows you what is possible, so you can then learn to communicate and work with these energies and these beings in your normal everyday life. So I think what is happening is that we are learning how to communicate telepathically. We're learning how to meditate, breath work, all these sorts of things to be able to change our physicality, remove the blockages to be able to communicate with higher intelligences. That therefore we would be able to communicate with our game. So we like to think of this as a living game that we have created, but we just have amnesia and forgot that we created this beautiful game for ourselves. Even the suffering is a part of all of it. And so we have our angels, our guides, or all these beings around us, which could just be a bunch of ETs, who knows? But they are the ones that they say like, ask for help. We forget to ask them for help. We think that we're in this alone, but any time of day, you can literally say, hey, could you help me with blank? Can you help me with this? They can't do anything because of free will until you ask. So once we start realizing that these beings are around us, realizing that there are many dimensions layered on top of each other, all these spirits, all these individuals, all these consciousnesses, like, we can learn to merge with them, meaning that we can learn to coexist and co-create with them and learn from them.
Yeah. And
don't we have that hunger inside of us naturally? I'll give you a perfect case. Augmented reality goggles. We're okay with that. We're okay with, right, putting those on and going to an uber realistic augmented reality. We're okay with that. So DMT and this other aspect of it is that. If we're okay with, you know what I mean, with wearing the gamification of life that you had just talked about, if DMT is just that, but it's the real version of it. You're not putting on goggles. It's actually real. So I think that we're setting ourselves up for doing that, where you don't coexist in the reality, but you can go anytime you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Absolutely. That's what I believe.
It makes total sense. have you ever interviewed Dahlia Burgoyne?
She's a very dear friend.
Of course. I mean, I don't know why I would not assume that.
We love Dahl.
I thought I introduced her.
Probably.
And then she went on Acid for Squares. Yeah, I remember that.
So we did an episode with her, and she talked about her daughter Lidu, right? So she's a nonverbal, autistic, telepathic kid, and we were fascinated with Lidu's teaching. So we kept being like, "What'd she say? The secret of the universe is?" And her response, it's my favorite part of the episode, is she says, "Lidu doesn't say." She didn't use the word simulation theory. She said, but what she said she said, and by the way, an important thing to know is Lidu calls angels the teachers. She said, it's like you're in heaven right now playing a video game, and the teachers are all around you cheering you on. And it's not because they're better than you. It's because they're your friends and you're one of them. And they're having fun watching you play this game, and they're supporting you as you play this game. And that is the truth. We're in heaven dreaming of this reality already. The illusion is that we are not in heaven. The illusion is that we are separate. And the illusion is that there is something to fear within these beings, or that they're greater than or less than, or that they're not a part of us. They're not our family. And the one thing that has become abundantly clear through the work we have done and through the work we all do here as hosting shows and interviewing these types of people is that there is a free will mechanism at play on Earth, and we need to ask whether it's hands off.
Can't do anything.
So if we continue to carry over this age-old Christian distortions around the world being bad and the devil and everything's out to get us and we're victims and we're never going to be able to reach back to the higher and to our friends that are reaching out, just wanting to give us a hand to help us get a little bit further in the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. And for some reason, we have morphed into that mindset, right? Where we want some savior to come along and cure everything instead of doing the work ourselves. And always playing, not always, but so many people play the victim card, right? When, man, I never played the victim card. It pisses me off. And I know that by playing the victim card, everybody that that includes the two of you sitting next to each other, right? Everybody that is going through some shit. So don't play the victim card, because they're going to look at you going, man, my life I'm dealing with my own shit. I don't need to. It is crazy. I think about the stuff that I've been through in the last month. Crazy shit. So is everybody else. What? My special? No, I'm not going to play the victim card. You know what? I'm gonna go and kick life's ass is what I'm going to do. Right? And that's we need ET to come here and cure pollution. What? What? That's our problem. It's not ET's problem. That's not anybody else's problem. Why do you need a savior? Are you afraid of putting in the work?
Yeah.
Are you afraid of putting in the work? That's why I really enjoy being around people that get together to discuss growth, whether it's ceremony or it's something else, because those are people that are not playing the victim card, right? They want to go on that journey and try to figure out what's the next step, whatever their personal issue is or the greater issue, whatever it is that brings them in, they're willing to put in the time and the work. And that's the only way that you move forward, right? That's it. That's the only way. Like when you guys started your podcast, you had episode 1. Right? How do you make that a success with sharing knowledge or bringing on people? You do episode 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 You put in the work. You don't want somebody to come in and do your podcast for you, right? It's not. It's the same thing with life, isn't it? Don't be afraid. Don't play the victim card. Do the work, and put one foot in front of the other.
Absolutely.
I keep waiting for your dad to walk in.
He's on the compound somewhere. No, you come stay with us. I'm telling you.
Yeah, Jimmy, come stay with us.
I know. I can do that at the drop of a hat.
Whenever
Maybe
you
I
want.
should. Maybe I should just. What's the closest airport? See,
Whatever.
we used to be neighbors, everybody, and they moved away from me and broke my heart.
We'll see you in fall, but we're near the nearest airport.
We'll send you the details.
Yeah, we're by
Yeah.
coast.
Yeah. I don't mean reveal it here. I'm saying text me what to do.
I'm asking for our address on the air. Jesus, Jimmy.
Can I get GPS coordinates right now? Hey, I got somebody. Oh, I got a news press release. Yeah, I'm going to bring it up. It's a press release. Your mom had squatters at her parents' house?
Oh my God, that's crazy.
How did you hear about
We've
that?
been ignoring this phenomenon.
It's a
so
TV show. It's a TV show.
It's so complicated.
I know.
The fuckery
I'm
of reality TV, Jimmy. The fuckery of reality TV.
Yeah. So I'm reading this press release. I was like, holy shit. And so right back to what I was saying earlier, playing the victim card. Everybody's dealing with stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But that was crazy. That was a crazy press release that I had read.
Yeah. I'll give you a little bit of
I don't think we can talk too much because I think there's a lawsuit.
I can get a little bit.
Can you? I thought there was like stuff that they couldn't talk about.
Well, the press release is the press release. I mean, that's in there.
All you need to know is, I mean, the short story, if I'm not stepping over anything legally, is that my mom's father died, and her parents had gotten divorced, and he was married to another woman, and she had died before he had died, and her kids refused to leave the house even though it transferred over to my mom. And it was mostly sad because my mom never like grieved her father. There's some darker stuff around his passing and some being stolen from the kids and stuff like that. Yeah. So I don't know how much I can say, but all I can say is like, yeah, dude, it's fucking messed up. And it's true. Like everybody's going through their shit. Like I feel like my mom, that and some other things, I've watched her like not grieve her father, like, just because she's dealing with some other stuff. But it's life, man. None of us get out of here alive.
I know. It's so true. And your mom, well, your parents, but your mom is beautiful as a soul. Well, as a person too, she's beautiful.
She's hot on the outside too.
She's both.
Yeah, she's both inside and outside.
Crazy.
But she's so sweet and so man, to have to go through that is just bullshit.
It sucks. It's never ending. It feels like it's just one thing after another. So it's like,
when you talk to my mom, you have to tell her about all your interactions with the female tour guide, because my mom is just, she'll be like sitting here like describing her to you, like very similar.
Your mom is so cool. I remember she said to me, she goes, and we all laughed. But she goes, so Jimmy, I've watched all of your shows. I can't imitate her like you can, but I've watched all of your shows. Your colors are all wrong.
No, and she's been telling us, tell Jimmy he's looking very good. He's doing a great job. And she watches your show all the time. I'll walk in, she watches your show, and she'll be like, look at Jimmy.
He's dressing better. He's
wearing all black.
That was me. I told him. She's taking full credit.
Right now. I'm like, Mom, I think
she's the best.
Been wearing all black.
You guys are the best. So where can everybody keep up? I know you have AssetForSquares.com. Is that where you want everybody to go? Is that the portal?
YouTube.
On YouTube, we like to send people to YouTube, Acid for Squares. We are Acid for Squares across all social media platforms. So it's very easy to find us. If you just type it into Google, there'll be all the things right there. But YouTube and Instagram are our main places.
Yeah, and our entire thing is, we just try to, dissolve the borders and boundaries of all these different wisdom traditions. We like to hear phenomenology, people's experiences, like Jimmy's DMT experience that he just told, and just really, instead of unpacking sort of the metaphysical from dogma or scripture, unpacking it from direct personal experience.
True gnosis.
Yeah, true gnosis. And then also teaching people techniques from masters and what they can do. And I have to say for Jimmy is the best human in the entire world. We would not be here without Jimmy. He's a godfather to us, and he's always the same man. He's exactly who he is.
Yeah.
Whoever you see, he's always him. Yeah. So we love him. So that's it.
And here's the good news. The next time you guys come out to the house, I've got an indoor pizza oven now, and it's got presets, so we can cook. It cooks a pizza in 3 minutes. But
Jimmy, I'm going to make you a pizza.
There's no vegan preset. That's the only thing.
You stop it.
Jimmy,
I love you guys.
I love you so much, Jimmy.
We love you. Okay.
Tell your mom and dad I said hello.
I will.
I'll fly out there, and then I'll see you guys when you guys head west again. Love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Much.
We love you, Jimmy.
Bye,
Be well,
everyone.
brother. Be well. Bye, gang.
Cody and Tanya, Acid for Squares. Thank you guys so much. A perfect night on the show. Thank you guys so much. AcidForSquares.com, and they're right. So that's the website, but it's Acid for Squares across all social media. I do want to remind everybody, tomorrow night, Tom Campbell is here. Thomas Campbell, The Theory of Everything. A hardcore physicist that is now dealing with consciousness and getting everything to merge. That is tomorrow night on the show. But until then, all I've got is go Beckley Teppy. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go Beckley Teppy.